This is, I believe, all the way through high school at this school. And I think there's nothing that would compare with it. I'm sure that there's a good international school in Bangkok still. But I really think there are special qualities to here, and I think they have a lot to do with being in northern Thailand. I think change and development are kind of inevitable, and this is something the human race is facing everywhere, particularly in desirable places to live, which Chiang Mai is still in many ways. For example, to me, it's much more desirable than Bangkok, which is wonderful, but it's like a science fiction movie. It's a very strangely advanced and ancient place at the same time, whereas Chiang Mai has some of that, but it's still very beautiful and a lot more relaxed here. I would like to see what might continue from, as far as I know, what is still going on here is a rather cross-cultural and eclectic quality to the education. I would like to see that continue, that the education here is not just about Western culture at all, but also is about Thai culture and Thailand. And I think that we are entering a period in which the awareness of environmental issues, I see a lot of recycling in Thailand now, and I've been to Kang Prachan National Park, which is a beautiful rainforest area further south, and I would like to see respect for the environment and the culture of Thailand continue to be part of this place, and if anything, increase in the future. I don't know all the specific plans. I know that this building we're in is to be preserved because it's considered a historical building, and perhaps the old school building in which I had my 3 years at Chiang Mai Children's Center will be gone, and I don't feel an attachment to that building. This one I do because I really think it has historical value. But I would also like to see, I would not like to see the campus completely moved somewhere else. That's not up to me, and it may be in the works, or at least part of the campus will be elsewhere. I don't know. I'm really not attached to any of the other buildings on this. I would like to see this remain a beautiful place because there's some wonderful old trees and some lovely landscaping around this building. I would hate to see that compromised too much because it's changed a lot since I lived here in this house. When I lived here, this was a compound that went only a little ways behind the school building next door. And on the other side of the compound, there was a wall, and is still a wall, on the edge of a Buddhist temple. And every single day we heard the monks chanting. And my father actually developed interfaith dialogue between Buddhist abbots and the Church of Christ in Thailand. He was a real champion for that. And I really would like to see in the future the continued respect for different religions, diversity of people. I think this is very important in today's world. I love Thailand and I love Chiang Mai, but I feel like nationalism has become kind of a questionable value. We need to preserve cultures and national identities, but also encourage the awareness that we live in a world and that all kinds of people and all different cultures and nations are valuable, have their own other religions too, for example. I've noticed that there are a lot of Muslim travelers in the airport, and there are facilities at Suvarnabhumi and Don Mueang International Airport for Muslim travelers, and there are sometimes little prayer and meditation rooms for people of other faiths too. So although I was raised by loving Presbyterian parents, they taught me to respect all other religions and cultures, and I think that's very important, to be truly international. What comes to mind, I think, is that this, as far as I know, the way this school has developed, I've learned a little bit about it because I did a little research. I contributed to the 60th anniversary book. I have an essay in there, and a lot of that did focus on Miss Wood. But I think that part of the value, Miss Wood literally embodied the cross-cultural values here, and I feel like I would like to see, as the school continues to grow, I hope that there continues to be a very personal and open-hearted kind of sense of community in the school. I think that at this point, as far as I know, there's still a lot of good. The classrooms are bigger, and I know it's organized a little differently because inevitably you have higher grades. I believe it only went to 6th grade, perhaps, when I was. Maybe 6th grade. Yeah, I think perhaps when I was here, but I would like to see that almost a family feeling, because I think that's a very special thing that is not easy to preserve as a learning institution grows. When you start to have 25 or 30 kids in a classroom, I'll tell you something very frankly. I don't think that children should be bound to a desk all day long. I think it's unnatural and unhealthy, and I think that children need to move and to interact. And I know that there are recess periods and there's physical education, but I think that as the learning institution develops here, it also hopefully will include a lot of emphasis on arts, such as dance and theater and music and other subjects besides the academics. I think the academics are very important, but in and of themselves they don't constitute an education. In many places, the educational institutions end up teaching kids how to pass tests. And I think that rote learning, and this is a cliche, but rote learning can be very limiting if you don't learn to think, and if you don't move and learn to act with a certain amount of confidence in some of those areas. Everybody has their particular gifts. I pursued the use of language, and I also do visual arts. I paint, which was encouraged by Miss Wood. She was a remarkable person. One of the things I really would like to see this school do is to maintain records and a connection with its roots too. You don't have to live in the past to acknowledge the roots and how an institution like this grew out of its past. I think that's like an individual. What I'm doing right now, coming to Chiang Mai, is partly, it's really not a nostalgia exercise anymore, but it is a connecting with my own roots and discovering how I became who I am.